among staff and customers by posting signs and posters in the business place. For more information and tips to consider, visit www.covid19.gov.kn.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting that dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from Adam St. Kitts.
Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Frank and Candid. It is Friday and TGIF, as we say. Glad to have you on board. I'm Tony Nias. Let's go to the news. Cuba, this week, introduced tighter controls on the use of social media, including a ban on publications that might damage, quote, the country's prestige, unquote. The move has angered many citizens and international rights activists. Decree 35, published in the official Gazette on Tuesday, comes a month after the most widespread anti-government protest in the country in decades, which spread in part due to information shared on social media. The legislation bans the spread of false news or messages and content deemed offensive or which, quote, incite mobilization or other acts that upset the public order, unquote. It also provides a channel for Cubans to inform on potential contraventions. Those who have attempted to subvert the constitutional order will be considered cyber terrorists. It does not say what the penalty will be for violations. And in some local St. Kitts news here, an annual report conducted by researcher James McKay and published by the Financial Times Professional Wealth Management magazine has ranked the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment, the CBI program, as the world's best. The report, known as the CBI Index, is one of the industry's most comprehensive and reliable tools for comparing CBI programs on the market. The nation was also awarded perfect scores in the ease of processing and due diligence pillars. St. Kitts and Nevis has achieved maximum points for its due diligence procedures for 5 consecutive years. Lastly, St. Kitts and Nevis obtained full marks in the family pillar, introduced in last year's edition. The increase came after the nation widens its definition of dependent to include siblings aged 30 and under who are unmarried, childless, and financially dependent on the main applicant. The 2021 CBI Index also noted that St. Kitts and Nevis is the Caribbean's CBI country with the most extensive visa-free and visa-on-arrival offerings. Those who become citizens gain increased travel freedom to nearly 160 destinations across the globe, a number that continues to expand. And that's a look at what's in the news to the moment. And as I said, it is Friday, and as usual, it's an open Friday. Whatever is on your mind, feel free to raise that, or looking back at what we have looked at for the week. Going back to Monday, we talked about a national hero and what makes a national hero as we approach National Heroes Day coming up here next month. That was on Monday. On Tuesday, we confronted the issue of losing beach access through many different ways, whether it was through natural means or man-made means. On Wednesday, we continued that discussion because there was much to be said still on the issue, so we continued on Wednesday on losing beach access. On Thursday, we looked at the role of a representative. What should be the role? What do you think the role is or should be and has been of a representative? Today is Friday. It's an open Friday, and the phone numbers are 465-2555 and the North American number 718-577-2916. If that's more convenient for you, feel free to join us in conversation. There are lots going on around the world, a lot going on in St. Kitts and Nevis. Most of what's coming out on the news these days for the last couple of days has been the situation in Afghanistan and how the U.S. has handled the exit from Afghanistan after 20 years there. Some people have strong feelings about it, whether you believe they should stay or leave, or maybe your issue is just with the execution with regards to the exit. That's one of the major issues. Of course, there's always COVID and all of that. We're living in that particular situation, and we probably will be for quite some time. The medical professionals have indicated to us that yes, we have detected a case of the Delta variant, which we've been talking about for so long. We have detected one case of that in St. Kitts. Don't know how many more there will be showing up, but we know it's here. So, all things to think about. All right, so we're going to go to the phones. We got a caller. So let's take that caller and say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am doing well. What about you?
I'm giving thanks also. Doing
Okay.
well. Thanks for another day. My introduction on probably Monday or Tuesday was a little proverb that I say, and you probably need to take note. And also I might say that your ratings might fall as persons who critique your ratings from time to time.
Well, we don't want that, do we?
No, but
Okay.
it's not that your ratings will fall. It's just that where persons at on their journey in life.
Okay.
But history is history, and we can always go back. We say Sankofa, go back to what is history. Not all history is written down. There are some things that happen and did not make certain history books for whatever reason. So on that cement. Not that your ratings will fall, but it's where people's at. And so I said, there's this African proverb. Yes, an African proverb that says that even though the stars seem far apart, there are fireflies right beneath the feet of humanity to illuminate their path. And so ever since humanity was given that light never went out. Never went out. So our new age way of life and trying to perfect or to do better than what was established, that great light from the Most High, they're doomed to fail. And so our African story must be told. There was a young guy that called in probably Monday or Tuesday and remind people not to look in the mirror, because a mirror is reflective of who ones are. And so I agree with that, because if we as a people can't come to terms as to who we are, in spite of what it is in life, we can't come to terms. We are still denying. But it's because of the trauma. We have been traumatized not to accept who we are as a people. And so that is our reality today. And so history tells us that even though the stars seem far apart, something, somewhere. And so the little voices that you hear talk about African history, the voice, the little few as they might be, those are the fireflies that help to illuminate the path of humanity. Because that light, and Jesus said it, for those of you who've been to Sunday school and church, let your light so shine under the bed. Put it where it can be illuminated, because some people is not where you are. The light may be shine and it illuminating you more than others. And so they would be inspired instead of coming and saying they're not no African. We're not telling them to want, we're not forcing them to be like New Age religion, tell people to convert or die. That is how New Age religion was established, convert or die. This is not our African story. We are just telling you that the light that was shown 100,000 years ago, however long, it is still shining today, and it will never go out, and there is no need for no New Age religion, no nothing. Just allow yourself to bath in the sunlight today. That's all. The sun has been there. And even me or you, Mr. Nias, we will say, if the next day permit, not so with the sun. The sun will always shine, whether me or you, life is permitted to me or you tomorrow to see it or not.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
All right, let's go to the next caller. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Hello,
Yes, good morning.
Mr. Nias, how are you?
I am well.
Good morning. This is Journey here.
Yes.
Mr. Nias, have we ever asked ourselves, right? And I'm asking this question with the backdrop of having in my mind the era that we are in now, which is the era of the age of eugenics. Have we ever asked ourselves that the system that presented itself to the world as a system of intelligence have fallen this low in pursuit of its vicious attack against black people? Now today, we have what is big in America and in the West, white supremacy. Now, you can go back as far as the KKK and bring it fast forwarded to white supremacy and seeing how vigorous. We can also go back and look at when everything that was on television was white. Everything that was white. You look at fashion. You go to in education. Everything that they have targeted towards us, the bottom line is to destroy the black man's image on every sphere. Now, white supremacy, I mean, it's almost like, well, you know, they don't even have to try that hard anymore. They don't have to try that hard anymore, because as much as we are in the age of eugenics right now, we are also into the era of truth. Truth that cannot be hidden forever. And Mr. Myers, we as a people, we have to go back to what we call in the African spirituality as Sankofa. Because as the book says, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. You see, Mr. Myers, we know that our ancestors built the pyramids, and they propagate this policy to us that, oh, well, it's not the Africans who built the pyramid. Sankofa, we have to go back, because our ancestors built those pyramids. You know it, I know it, the truths are there. So everything that they're doing to today, from white supremacy to the coronavirus to eugenics, it is targeted at us. They know our history, they know where they stand in nature. And this is my opinion, Mr. Myers. The coronavirus, it was created in a lab, it was planned, and it was to come out at the appointed time after the year of return, after 400 years of slavery. I want our people to wake up, because it is not... Mr. Myers, thank you for hearing me. I'll call back if I get you.
Okay. Thank you for input. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Okay. We don't have a caller there? Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break and come back on the other side and continue our discussion. right here on Frank and Candid.
The St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce would like to remind persons when patronizing businesses to abide by the following COVID-19 guidelines to protect employees, customers, and our community. Urge employers to check employees and customers with a non-contact head thermometer on arrival to a business place. It's mandatory that employees wear a face mask when at work and in the presence of others. No customers will be permitted to enter an establishment with
I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gon' be safe. Everybody gon' be safe. One kind, one people. We are roll up to roll up. Cause no man's alone. Do what's right. Cause I love you. And we're in this together. My sister, my brother. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah. It's better for us, yeah. I don't wanna lose ya. I love you too much, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll out.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
A good discussion on our national heroes and what makes a national hero as we approach the time when we celebrate National Heroes Day. To date, this country has had 5 national heroes, all of whom I would say are deserving. No issues there. Just sometimes we question why all of our national heroes are coming from the same group, same career, same profession. That is politics and government. All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, some years ago, the Lord Valentino did a song called Life is a Stage and We're the Actors. In that song, he said, when it comes to playing smart man and smart woman, he takes Trinidadian. I've always followed how people sing it like that. You know, when we want to be smart at our convenience, we tend to be very smart. I listened to the program last night and somebody made an argument that this company was asking if they serve unvaccinated customers.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, all the smartness, the question has some merit, I would admit. But in all the smartness of the question, a number of things are forgotten. One, the companies tell you when you want to come to the business, you must wear masks, sanitize your hand, and observe social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, the person in the smartness would have forgotten that.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, sometimes when you ask for one thing, in your smartness, you got to be prepared for what comes afterwards. Now, that person, when the company starts saying, show me your vaccination card before you come in the store, I wonder if they're going to be prepared for that event. Because if you're going to make the argument if a company is serving vaccinated or unvaccinated patients,
Mm-hmm.
you got to make your distinction by showing your card. So when we ask for one thing, you got to be prepared to accept the sequel. Another thing, I had some discussion with some police friend this morning. Now, if I am vaccinated, you know, people who are vaccinated can still get a breakthrough infection. So you've heard of that.
Right.
So if I'm vaccinated and I am to still catch COVID, I wonder who I prefer to catch it from. Somebody who's vaccinated or somebody who's not vaccinated. Because that's a question that touches on the matter of fairness. I am vaccinated. Yes, I can get a breakthrough infection. But from who? The vaccinated or the unvaccinated? Thank you very much.
Okay. Food for thought. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello, Mr. Nice.
Yes, good morning.
Am I on?
You're live.
Okay, Mr. Nice. This is Sonny Boy. Right name is Alfonso. I'm calling from New York. Is this open mic, open phone, open forum?
Open forum. Go ahead.
The first caller yesterday always talk about Pan-Africa this and Pan-Africa that. Africa have 52 countries make up Africa, African nation. When Nelson Mandela released from prison, he was trying to unite Africa and make it a united country just like the United States, but the people wouldn't let him. And he was too old and he wasn't young enough, he didn't have enough time. So this guy always talking about Pan-African this and Pan-African that. They got 52 countries. We are little islands. They can't even form a nation together. If Africa become a nation, they will give America and Chinese a run for their money with all the natural resources they got. So when you talk about all West Indians living in West Indies, black people this and black people that, we are not. Because we live so far away from Africa, we don't have that custom. Our customs is like the Western world that we grew up knowing. That's all we know. So, okay, Mr. Nice, now I'm going to touch on the Caribbean. You remember the Federation was formed, I think in the late 60s, when Eric Williams and Manley in Jamaica and Bratcher left St. Kitts and went to Trinidad, and he was the secretary. There was the three powerhouse. Jamaica was the biggest island in the Federation. They didn't want people from St. Kitts and all the smaller Caribbean islands. They say all them people from them little islands gonna come and flock up the country. Sparrow make a record about that and all that. So it was 10 islands. And then Jamaica left. So Jamaica said 1 from 10 needs 0. They left the Federation. Now you have Jamaicans all over the other Caribbean islands. They didn't want us to come to their country. And that's why they left the Federation, because they was the biggest island. And now they're all over the Caribbean island, the smaller Caribbean island. So when you making comment, take the bone out your eye before you point it in somebody's eye. So we had a shot at unity before CARICOM, and if we was federated, now we'll be a driving force in the world. With all the natural resources we got, St. Kitts had sugar, Trinidad have cement, oil, Jamaica have bauxite and cement. We would have been a big force, but Jamaica is the one that left the Federation and left the small islands hanging. So after Bratcher was in Trinidad, he had to come back home and resume his premiership and do the best he can for St. Kitts. So when anybody wants to criticize about the downfall of the Caribbean islands, Jamaica is the one that started it. And Sparrow made a song in it, say, Jamaica, you started, and Dr. Williams finished it. So, okay, Mr. Nice, you have a good weekend, and that's my history lesson for today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, that is a subject that no doubt will come up here sometime next week. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Brother Tony.
Good morning.
Yeah, Brother Tony, thank God for this lovely federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I just am doing a little hard work here, just a little landscaping here, but you know, I'm feeling so well, you know. Mm-hmm. It would give me some problem, man. So it's saying all at all. But anyway, just want to put God in front of everything. whatever. Well, Brother Tony, it seems to me like think it is not part of the world just for some people. Well, this deadly COVID virus broke out in all over the world. It broke out in Wuhan, China. And countries started to shut down because people was getting affected by one another. If you're in a crowd, or you're going to any business place, or going to your family members, you got to wear a mask. Anyway, before the vaccine, that is what we got to do. Keep social distance, wear mask, wash your hands, take with vitamin, which vitamin C and everything, and do what we got to do to prevent it. Now the scientists then work the brains of God with them and come up with a vaccine to help us with this deadly disease called COVID. And you can tell me that so much people so ignorant, up and down cussing going on, that abusing Prime Minister, abusing everybody, like the Prime Minister created or the country created, whatever created. The whole world, the whole world got a problem with this COVID. The whole world is shutting down. Everybody got a problem. You should put on the news and look up on the Facebook and on YouTube and whatsoever. They see everything in different parts of the country. How people got to live because of this COVID. And now the guys are coming. They said some of the grandparents and parents are saying the children don't take none. The children them this and the children that. And they don't take it. But then, I want to say again, thank God for a lovely federation, think it means. May God bless you, bless the federation, keep you. Remember you always tell me, look for black sheep before night come in. And that is what I do. Look for the black sheep in, so there's no army sheep them white. So when the night, I do. I could tell me sheep when I want them. Whatever it is, you have a wonderful day, God bless.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen Nzinga. Blessed them, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family?
All well, you?
Good, man, and the clan is good. No, my beloved brother, I must agree with Journey, you know, beloved. We all know that, man. Every conscious African know that. Because the last time I checked, beloved, I was years ago and checked recently. Caucasian was 1/8 of the Earth's population. Let me repeat that, 1/8 at the time. I got to check, and the census, this country last year, results came in. I don't know if you read about it, anything about it, if you know. And the Caucasian race in this country and worldwide, as we all know, is diminishing, beloved brother. They even come up in a new category. This is just ridiculous. But we all know, man, they can't fool us, man. Come up with this mixed race, which is an official thing now, designation. Just like way back, at one time, Caucasian Jews and Italians and Irish, the Irish didn't consider Caucasian in this country until they needed that to boost up their population. Then they make Irish and Caucasian Jews and Italians, put them in the Caucasian category. But you see this thing, mixed race nonsense. No, Bob Marley, oh yeah. But I mean, he comes from mixed race, but he's an African person of mixed race. He's African. W.E. Du Bois, great Pan-Africanist, was of mixed race. So what? Well, you see, they want to confuse the offspring of this mix, you know, union. Well, they sing the same thing, union, and mix them so you don't take no side. I didn't think like that, but I got news for them, man. Young people nowadays, you find out even like mixed race Africans, most times are more Pan-Africanists more militant, more radical, beloved brother, and black skinned Africans who come from the mother African and the father African. But that's for another time, beloved. Beloved, let me talk about brother Sonny Boy. You should have, maybe you ain't catch it, brother. He said the federation that was started in 1958, beloved brother. And it's Jamaica. I wouldn't say Jamaica is the administration at that time. Was a white boy, Bustamante. And when they went to the referendum in Jamaica, mostly, right? Most of the Africans in Jamaica could not read. Some of them couldn't even write, beloved. Most of them African people, and this is not no stigma, and not because Jamaica got some of the most intelligent people in the Caribbean. No, but at that time, so I ain't blaming nobody from none of my brothers and sisters who were born in Jamaica. At that time was Bustamante, a white boy, and beloved, he said that he made it's Eric Williams who is the one that made that statement, beloved, that 1 from 10 leaves 0, Sonny boy. Yes, so it's Eric Williams who said 1 from 10 leaves 0. And then everybody started to think, but brother, I'm saying the federation, all that we had to do with it in the Caribbean, we just Africanize it. Brother, we'll be in the strongest, one of the strongest group in our planet Earth, beloved. But stop and the other white boys them and girls mash up that. But we still here, man. We still here, beloved. We still here, and we got to keep the thing going on. And beloved, in closing, we must take care of business. We cannot let no race of people distract us as African people every day. COVID. Listen, like I say, sorry for people who perish and them who intend, but it can't get up every day as African people talking about COVID. What did that get to talk about? What about our plights, man? We got so much of problems as African people on the continent. Look what happened the other day. I think it was a couple of days ago, man. You know, and in the Caribbean, everywhere African people live, in this country, got multitude of problems, beloved brother. We got to take care of our problems, man, and stop this nonsense every day. COVID. Come on, don't let people occupy your minds or occupy our minds, man. We're going to control the narrative, our own narrative, not take other people's narratives and pronouncements. We do what is best for us to heck with everybody else. And now we are not the only thing on planet Earth. But our business must be African business. And African business must be our business at all times. Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Have a blessed weekend. You and your family, the entire Federation, and my beloved people over there. In number 6, special Pan-African Republic of the beloved brother. Right. Take care, Pan-Africanism, I perish. One love, my beloved brother.
Okay, let's back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Hello, good morning, Tony.
Hey, good morning.
You good to the Friday?
Yes, man, it's Friday.
Okay, thank God. You know what happened? When my wife come home, she gonna be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I get about my chain, I went straight in the shower.
Yeah.
Straight in the shower, go under the pipe.
Uh-huh.
And I thank God that I have energy and strength that I could get up and move around in the house.
Nice.
And go under the shower and open the pipe and drown myself.
You don't drown yourself?
I drown myself, but I'm still alive.
Okay.
You know, some man that tell one girl, I love you to death.
Yeah.
But they did, you know.
Mm.
Just like a fellow there. One time he and the girlfriend going for a walk and he tell her, girl, I love you, but you know, I will do anything for you. I will die for you.
Mm-hmm.
And where they were walking going, they had a lot of cattle up above. When she looked, one of them coming down the road full speed, and he turned around left, she running going, and here she, Love, Jimmy, you say you're going to die for me? He said, yes, but not so. So when a lot of people open their mouth, A lot of lies come out and a lot of truth come out.
I hear you.
But the Creator, God, He put us here, He make us here. And whether your skin yellow, black, green, blue, or purple, one color blood, and that's red. And He make us here, and when He ready, He will say, come, you come. I'm ready for you. So it's time for us to stop fighting about who this and who that and who's supposed to rule and all kind of color and this and that. Done with that. It's only the Creator control. When He ready, you could put on a cup of coffee. You will put on a cup of coffee on the table for you to drink. And by the time you sit down and you give it 2 sips, you may not be able to finish the cup. You're dead. Nobody knows what will happen in the next couple of seconds. And He holds the future. When you wake up in the morning, give thanks that you are alive and you're able to breathe in oxygen in your nose and move on and at least help somebody along the way. Help. Doesn't matter what it is, whether a joke and you make them laugh, they live a little longer. So Tony, thank God for you and your program. Your program is very educational. Very educational. So it's just for we the student now. When we hear people talking, we're supposed to assess sense out of nonsense and appreciate it. Thank you, Tony. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay.
Thank you. Back to the phones we go. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Good morning, Mr. Nair.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, one of the topics you mentioned was Afghanistan.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to make an intervention on that.
Sure.
You know, I listened to a discussion this morning centered around that country, and there was this school of thought that countries should hold fast to the principle of non-intervention in the affairs of other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a counter-prevailing view that there are circumstances where such intervention is warranted. Well, what are those circumstances? And who decides and who enforces?
Mm-hmm.
One view was that where there is genocide involved or abuse of human rights to such an extent that it cannot be ignored, then somebody should intervene. And then the question becomes who? I would suggest that this is a role for the United Nations. That body has come up with a whole lot of standards and human rights declarations and anti-corruption and good governance guidelines. And so the organization, I think, has the moral authority and is best placed to make a decision on when intervention should happen. It also has a lot of agencies that are on the ground in many countries, and so they have the necessary quote-unquote intelligence, okay, to know what is happening and don't have to depend on propaganda from the various governments.
When we talk about intervention, we talk military intervention?
Military.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, not, it doesn't have to be restricted to that.
Okay.
There are other ways, there are other soft ways of intervening that are just as effective. Okay. You know, you deal with each case on its merit.
Because I was wondering who's going to intervene in the U.S. if there's a charge against the U.S. militarily.
Okay, fair question.
Okay.
It would be good to see, though, that if the permanent members of the Security Council, that is usually the final arbiter on these things, it would be good to see that it is expanded to include more countries instead of the most powerful countries, as obtains now. For we know that intervention is most likely to come from those countries with the capacity, you know, the military to enforce that. Okay? And the thing is, though, they mess up in so many areas: Afghanistan, the Middle East, Latin America, Africa, Asia, even Europe. Okay? And so the question you raise is an important one. Who holds them accountable? Right? And I think the danger with the UN, it tends to let, I guess because it's such a large organization representing so many countries, it tends to let problems fester before they are dealt with. Because you can bet your life, before you had genocide, you had 1 or 2 or 3 persons who disappeared. But in a population of several million, these were overlooked, right? Before a nation became a pariah state, you know, it might have started destroying World Heritage Sites, for instance. And we would have sat by and said, well, if they're stupid enough to do that in their own country, just leave them to their own devices. Not realizing that stupidity can be exported also. And so we are surprised when the Taliban destroyed the Buddhas, Buddhas, not realizing that it may be the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center next, and that's thousands of miles away. So we can't just ignore problems in whichever country there is. The UN has to insist on the good governance guidelines that it presented in all countries. I mean, countries sign on to them, okay? So that small problems don't become big ones. It has to insist that every country stamp out corruption, for corruption is corrosive to democracy, and places that are anti-democratic are more prone to excesses and abuses of power. And that's the cause of so many problems, abuses of power in the first place. Okay? And finally, real politics or geopolitics, whatever you want to call it, demands some realism. We cannot say that whatever the enforcing agency is, that it should not intervene to stop an abuse in let's just say it's Nevis, because it will not do so in China if it is doing the same thing. That relates directly to your question, right? You should make a difference where you could until you can make a difference everywhere you need to, right? Okay. That's not, it's often used as an excuse. Well, look, they didn't go into, they can't tell China nothing, or they can't tell the US nothing.
Okay.
Right? But you have to make a difference where you could.
Make a difference where you could. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the. Okay, lost that caller. All right. Lots to unpack there for the morning. Whatever's on your mind, let's feel free. It's an open Friday. We say good morning. Welcome.
Nice.
Yes.
It's nice. I'm back.
Yes. Go ahead.
You did allude to having a discussion on Afghanistan probably next week, God willing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I did make a
Okay, caller, we're having some trouble there. You may have to call us back. Let's take the next call.
Hello, Mr. Nias?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Nias, this is Sonny Boy Alfonso calling back.
Mm-hmm.
The guy said that I said 1958. I didn't say 58, I said 68. 58, I was only 11 years old. I was in boys' school.
You were talking about the West Indies Federation?
I said 58.
Hello?
The guy said that I said 1958.
Caller, you have your radio on.
Is this? Bradshaw was the premier of St. Kitts. Bradshaw left St. Kitts and Southwell became the premier, and Bradshaw went to be the secretary for the Federation. And then...
Caller, you have a radio on there. We're not getting...
Okay, I turn it off.
Thank you.
I said, Mr. Bradshaw left St. Kitts to go to Trinidad because Eric William asked him to come and be the secretary of the Federation. And Southwell took over and become premier. My point that I'm trying to make is that Jamaica was the one that was responsible for breaking up the Federation, not no other Caribbean island. And after Jamaica left, then all the Dr. Williams said 1 from 10 leave 0.
Leave not.
But that other caller just make a comment about the United Nations. You need to know, United States give the most money to the UN. United States created the UN. So most of the things that is done by the UN is influenced by the United States. So you cannot share power of the United States with a small country. United States is a mega country as far as money and value go, and knowledge. So when you compare about they should have smaller countries in the Security Council and all that, that's not going to happen. The big four going to always dominate the Security Council: United States, China, England, and Russia. So that's the way it is, and I can't foresee that it's going to change. And Mr. Nyers, thanks for taking my call.
All right. Just to clarify there, the West Indies Federation, 1958. I think that's what the caller was trying to clear up there. 262. Okay, back to the phones. Good morning, welcome.
I'm back.
Yes.
Continue the chain of thought. And did that last caller said the Big Four? How many prominent members are in the United Nations, Mr. Nyers?
I believe there's a 15-member council. I believe.
There are five.
Five permanent, but 15 members in the council. 5 of the 15 are permanent.
One was missing from his count there, which is France.
Right, okay.
And then you have the 15 which Germany and others are in.
Correct.
Yes, that wasn't a question. I'm going to reserve the Afghanistan for another time, but I did alluded on my contribution about Afghanistan and why I thought that the U.S. was in Afghanistan. But we shall discuss that another time. Let's deal with the United Nations. What are the criteria for? I don't buy into because a particular country donate more than others that that particular country should really big stick and say if it comes down to a vote. Let's say it was 4. We know it's 5. What if 3 voted for and 1 that country that donate more money voted the other way? Should that country that donated more money override the 3's decision? I don't think so. That type of criteria, because I put in more money. The United Nations should have a code of moral code that they go by, and not to say by the person who put the most money, decide, So what we all do, clean up the mess after a mistake. We will say, oh, sorry, this wasn't the move, because if the 3 decision had prevailed, we would have gone the other route and we wouldn't have made so much mistake. I'm saying that I don't know the criteria of how the United Nations operate and how what is their constitution, who should be in the permanent council, who should be on the 15 and the other members and so on. But for quite a while, let's say if this thing was done by blocks, okay, you have the European Union that will vie for members from that economy or that space, geographic space. Then you have the United States, which can stand on its own, or the Americas, including Canada, not Central America and South America. And then you have the Asian bloc, which is the Asian bloc. Then you have the African bloc. I don't know what is the criteria, but I could tell you though, for quite a while, and it has been raised recently, where the Africans don't even seem, and I stand to be corrected, don't even seem like they have a representative anywhere close any one of those bodies.
Well,
right.
that's not necessarily true. One of the
stand to be corrected.
The non-permanent members, of the 10 non-permanent members, Kenya is in there. Nigeria. We also have St. Vincent and the Grenadines, actually.
Okay,
remember they just went on.
The correction.
They went on just recently.
Thanks for the correction, but stepping up, because according to the caller, the further up you are, is the more recognition you will get in terms of your voice. Yeah, and so they are agitated to step up the ladder, so to speak, because they are holding certain weight too, and it's a vast area. But thanks for the correction. I was, just saying that they are lending their voice to be stepped up so that their voices can be heard, in that they're controlling them. And all other areas have that right to do. And so, I don't know. But I beg to differ. I don't believe that because putting more money than others. It should be a balance across the table for humanity. The best way, the best result for humanity. Thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you. Let's go back to the phone. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, when you started out early this morning, I know you was talking about the Delta virus, right? The variant. I noticed you didn't like also indicate that person. They said that person has recovered from the. So I think you should maybe also said that at the end.
Okay.
When the Delta virus was discovered, then St. Kitts, that person they said is recovered, and they found out that strain was from that person that came in, and he was in quarantine at the time. So the people need to know that he was not exposed to the community.
Right.
And concerning the Taliban and Afghanistan, the execution of that exit, I don't really like that, but I believe it was a good move by Biden. It was one of his campaign promises, and he did fulfilling it. Other politicians need to follow through and make well on their campaign promises. And it seems very chaotic in Afghanistan right now, but I believe as time goes along, situation there might calm down, because the Taliban themselves, they know that they're gonna have to make some changes themselves and compromise as well, because they know the world is watching them, and they're trying to do this. They have indicated that this time around they want to be able to do things differently, and with that said, they will have to make some compromises and some changes as well. But as time goes along and as things settle down there, people are going to realize that it's going to probably look good for Biden for pulling out. It might not look good now initially, but later on it probably will. But we watch the situation and see. And lastly, the other day when you was talking about the role of the parliamentarians, representative, or whatever, that was a very good program, very informative. I gained some knowledge from that. And I wanted to ask you one quick question along that line. Whenever a seat is vacated, right, and it appears to me like the politician that's vacating the seat, as in terms of a retirement, he seems like he would select somebody to run in that district. But I don't really agree with that. Why don't the people vote in for that person who's selected? I don't know if you understand my question. I hope you do, but
the political party.
It appears to me, whenever there's a politician retiring, that person always seems to want to put a specific person in place to run and pick up that seat. But why don't the party itself have a vote? Because internally, why don't they go to the people? Because apparently, if the politician that's exiting the seat, and he has his mind on picking a specific person, but that specific person might not go well with the party or the people. If you get my line of questioning, I hope you can make an answer on that, please.
Yeah, I get where you're going, but it doesn't really work that way. I mean, the political party selects its candidate. So anyway, let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if you was around when they had your day. You was old enough. But I was old enough to remember when they had your day.
When they had what?
Whether it was a thing, you come up, you get up a morning time, your eye full of lampy.
Right, okay.
I'm not saying you're full of oil, and to nose around sometimes. You got to wear shades. And they say that if you go by somebody who ain't got it because they contact for it. And it's only the same vaccine they use. To get Israel. So only something the man said, maybe to can up you already up. So them plaster them with coal. You understand? So these are things that come in the world and we don't got to make changes and live our life different accordingly. And then so we use normal bush, normal herb. But what? They said that this year was the prayer a bit of a mountain and you pee your hand and then you wash your with the tea. All of that we don't do with this weather business. And Tony, people will always talk and criticize and talk and things. This is a country of respect. We elect a government to run the country. The government doing what they can do the best to COVID. Ignorant will never be exposed to nobody. Only just a couple days ago, a young man was up and down for a motorbike. Yeah, what? Men say rest in peace. You know, I feel so sad when I hear about it. Up and down with a motorbike, up and down, because helmet and going up on the path of the village, skidding down and doing all kind of thing. And when I hear that young man end up in an accident and lose his life, then you know what I feel? All the people was talking to him. Somebody come down the avenue there by the thing there, and he kick up money at the thing and he cycling the thing there by the passion, and I knew that the people got to run. You understand? That I feel by the boat, and I want to send my condolences out to his family. And 2 years before go, he has some people went in other different countries go work. Right? Whether they work under the pension or whatsoever, maybe they work in a club or they work in a restaurant or whatever. I know people work in club, went out some nights that they work in club. Right? But they make you say they work in the club. But if I met some of them work in the club to just die, because they come back and think it and just push it down the government every day. You understand? And they don't get a social security pension because they're putting enough to get a monthly pension. That's costing the government every day. When they was in the club, what they was doing with the money? I know good for the lady. She told me what she got to do in part of this different country where she went to get what she got. And when she got apartment, there are students and people living in the apartment.
Okay.
She worked in the club then also.
All right, let's take a final call here on this Friday. Good morning, welcome. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Hello?
Yes, final call.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank God for your program, sir. I'd like to reach those who are in Canada right now, and they're having a federal election soon. Okay. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. I wish those brothers and sisters in Canada could remember Trudeau, that he was blackfacing. He apologized. But I ask the brothers and sisters in Canada to hold him to the fire still and forge him to be a white vanguard among the white leaders, like his father was. Hold him to the fire, forge him to be a white vanguard for the sake of reparations, and that he can start by increasing the things that they have done. They put some money out there for Nova Scotia, Afroville, but push it harder. Make him recognize if indeed he's sorry about it. Let him know about the economic trauma, the years and years of generational wealth they took away. Like the Black Wall Street. So, push my brothers in Canada for that.
Okay.
And regarding my brothers who spoke about blood, we're all the same because we're cut. Blood is red. I tell white people, listen. You cut a dog, the blood is red. You cut a rat, the blood is red. And even your own family, your own sister, brother, you might not be able to save them in blood transfusion because you have a different blood. So don't come in this blood thing, the blood is red. Overall, let's say because the blood is red. That's ridiculous.
Okay, gotcha. We gotta go. Thank you.
I had an Indian fellow down here, right here.
Gotta go, caller. Gotta go. up against the clock here. Thank you. And that's going to do it for this edition and this week's editions of Frank and Candid. Next week, if it is to be, we'll be back with much more discussions. I'm Tony Nias. Enjoy your weekend.
Radio.
Up and away!
In the top stories, Pfizer vaccine rollout to begin in September. Tensions grow over Haiti aid as quake toll jumps, and record heat waves and droughts devastate Italy agriculture. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Friday, the 20th of August, 2021. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, St. Kitts and Nevis will begin offering the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to the public on Wednesday, September 1. The rollout date was shared by Medical Chief of Staff at the JNF General Hospital, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, at Wednesday's COVID-19 briefing by the National Emergency Operations Center. The first of 3 shipments of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccines arrived on August 12. The donation by the United States government brought an initial batch of 11,700 doses. Dr. Wilkinson explained that health authorities have been preparing to introduce the new vaccines to the roll-out vaccination campaign.
The nurses are currently undergoing training in the process. They had 2 training courses with the Pan American Health Organization, and they're continuing that.
He said training is critical as the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has different storage requirements compared to the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine has storage requirements of ultra-cold settings of -80 degrees and -20 degrees before being placed in regular refrigeration units for administering to individuals. The Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine, however, can be stored in a regular refrigerator. Dr. Wilkinson said that it was important for health authorities to maintain due diligence in their duties.
We believe that patience is a virtue, and we want to make sure that when we start, we'll start correctly, and we will make sure that our teenagers and above will have the appropriate dosing schedule, etc.
The jab will be available to anyone over the age of 12 years. There will be a 3-week interval between the first and second shots. The Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine has donated essential supplies and money to the Ministry of Health, totaling more than $110,000 to assist in the fight against COVID-19. The recent donation included a ventilator, 10 nebulizers, 2 video laryngoscope kits, several temperature guns, digital thermometers, infrared thermometers, pulse oximeters, face shields, and isolation gowns. The supplies were handed over on the university's compound in West Farm. In gratitude to Ross University, Minister of Health, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, was quoted as saying, "This benevolent gesture is a demonstration that RUSVM recognizes the vital role the health sector must play, not only in the fight against coronavirus, but also to sustain an effective public health system, including its response efforts to all health-related challenges." Dean of the university, Sean Callanan, stated that the university is committed to giving back. He said, quote, "Ross Vet has long been a member of this island community. We're committed to giving back. With the unfortunate recent spike in COVID-19 cases, it's our hope that these items will be of great value to the dedicated hospital staff, and beyond the pandemic, these items will continue to be of value," end quote. In other news, the Ministry of Education has announced the winner of the Independence 38 theme competition. The winner is Imani Samuel, a 3rd form student of Verchilds High, making it 2 consecutive years that a high school student has won the competition. The winning theme, Adapt, Diversify, Recreate Independence 38, was selected by the federal cabinet from 150 submissions. During a telephone interview with Permanent Secretary William Hodge, Samuel said he was very happy at being selected the winner of the competition.
Well, I have some great news for you. Do you think you know what that news is?
Yes.
What do you think it is?
I won the competition.
Okay, right. You are so correct. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hodge congratulated Samuel and indicated that the Ministry of Education will contact him regarding the prize. St. Kitts and Nevis will be celebrating its 38th independence anniversary on September 19, 2021. We now move to news on the regional scene. The number of people who died in Haiti's magnitude 7.2 earthquake has risen to 2,189. Some aid has arrived in the hard-hit city Les Cayes, but survivors are desperate and help is not getting to disaster zones quickly enough. Tension is growing over the slow pace of aid efforts as the Prime Minister promises not to repeat a history of mismanagement. Al Jazeera's John Holman reports.
This is the as yet little known centre of Haiti's disaster zone. 2 hours from the city that captured attention following Saturday's earthquake, things are worse. We drove through 10 kilometres of countryside in which most of the houses were simply destroyed. We stopped when we saw this building in the village of Florent. It housed the community's hospital, church and school for 53 years. On Saturday, in a heartbeat, it was gone.
Now we're trying to at least find a tent to help the kids back to school so they don't miss the year.
The Florent district chief says 98% of the houses here went down too. Judith was washing clothes, just like when we met her, when her house collapsed behind her.
I saw the earth moving and we started running. There were 2 people inside. Fortunately, they managed to get out.
Now she and her family of 9 are homeless, just like most of the community here. Some lives have been lost too. Ramon and Sylvain's son was out in the fields with his dad when he was killed by a landslide, set off by the quake.
I feel terrible. Every time I'm taking care of the animals, I think of him, because he enjoyed doing that. Yesterday would have been his 14th birthday.
They showed us a photo of him, and abruptly, it caused an outpouring of grief. We continued, the villagers wanting to show us all they've lost. I asked Anise Gaston by the ruin of her house if the community had got any international aid. There's many aid teams flying into Haiti and heading to this region, but it seems the help has yet to filter down to here, and it's needed. You go from house to house in this community, there's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and they're mostly destroyed. And what people here are telling us is that this time round they're unable to help each other because they're all victims. The district head is very clear about what Florent requires.
Tents, tarpaulin, water and food, but the tents are the most important thing.
He says that he's already talked to the Prime Minister, who asked him to wait. Meanwhile, fresh aftershots continue through the town. A powerful one, while we visited, sent this frightened crowd into the street. They already have little left, apart from each other. John Holman, Al Jazeera, Florent, Haiti.
In Guyana, 2 persons have been released from custody after police on Thursday afternoon admitted that the 12 packets of fern leaf milk suspected to be mixed with cocaine had no trace of narcotics in their contents. In a release, the police said tests were conducted on Wednesday by the Guyana Forensic Science Laboratory. More in this report.
Narcotics police seemed to have made a significant blunder when they arrested and locked up 2 persons under suspicion that they were about to traffic drugs to Barbados through the Eugene F. Correa International Airport. Police on Monday found almost 5 kilograms of what narcotics police said was cocaine in fern leaf milk packets. Investigators said they opened and tested the contents of 2 of the fern leaf packets and found the suspected cocaine. 3 days later, police released the 2 persons after lab tests prove that it was indeed fern leaf milk and not cocaine. Garfield Richmond was one of 2 people detained for the milk.
So it was the next move. We're taking me to know. Because even to the corporal guy, the police that in charge of the duty at the station at the same time, he asks. So she says, it's not taking me anywhere. I'm being released. So I was surprised. I say, really? She said, yes.
Richmond said that he normally buys goods to send to Barbados and would never have any dealings with drugs. He said that the police even tested the contents in his presence 1 day after he was arrested.
They test each and every one. They cut the package. And they weigh each one and say, well, how much pounds of kilo of coke in the phone. Right. You understand?
Richmond believes that the police tried to coerce the woman who had the package into saying he handed her the drugs.
She started talking a lot of stuff there too. They started to get upset because it's not what they wanted to hear. You understand? They asked me the same thing. This is not enough.
So while she was sitting on the bench, she started to blurt out the same story you're telling me here? That
she started talking a lot of different stories that...
Things that would contradict or implicate you?
Exactly.
I see.
Contradict the whole thing. Why Garfield? Why you and Denise had to put me in this?
He said that the situation has embarrassed him and his family and that the police force can expect a lawsuit. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Internationally, record heat waves and droughts have sparked fires across Italy this summer. A local farmers association says agriculture is at risk and climate change is only making things worse. Meanwhile, many are trying to adapt quickly to the severe weather. Al Jazeera's Adam Rainey reports.
Marco Razzolini grows an unusual crop for a Tuscan farmer: peanuts. When fellow farmers ask him why he plowed under sunflowers to grow a plant more common to parts of Africa or the U.S. South, he tells them the choice was clear.
Compared to 20 years ago, this area has gotten drier and hotter. The climate has become ideal for peanuts. They thrive in dry, sandy soil. We have to follow nature. We can't force our will on it.
According to a new report, 1/5 of Italy is at risk of desertification. Farmers from the Alps in the north to Sicily in the south are adapting to climate change. And those who manage water resources are having to adapt too. Like at this dam that channels water to farmers in southern Tuscany. The man in charge here says seasonable rains are less reliable now.
We're always forced to keep going with the little water that we have. We're trying to teach farmers to consume less water. I'm very worried because this part of Tuscany needs a lot of water.
It's not just Tuscany. 2 hours south in the hills of Lazio, Tonino Casciani prefers to keep growing what Italians have cultivated since ancient times, wine grapes. But he too is embracing change. With fewer water resources, his hilltop vineyard is especially at risk. Now Casciani works with a team that maps his land with multispectral images that help him make complex, subtle decisions about when to water and how much he needs to irrigate.
We're forced to use this system because without it a lot of land would be unusable. With this technology we're able to keep this land productive, otherwise we'd have to shut down.
Shutting down his family's vineyard just isn't an option. Whether reinventing ways to tend traditional crops or market new ones, these farmers are coming up with strategies to face an uncertain future. Adam Rainey, Al Jazeera, Venturina, Italy.
And now for the weather. Current conditions are partly cloudy skies with dust haze and a moderate breeze of 14 miles per hour from an easterly direction. The temperature is 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are east at 9 to 18 miles per hour, reaching as high as 25 miles per hour, mainly in elevated areas. Seas are moderate with waves not exceeding 5 feet. The weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis says today will be partly sunny and hazy with only a 10% or slight chance of a brief shower. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a 20% or slight chance of a brief passing late night shower. Sunset today will be at 6:34 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:55 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.